So today we're going to be talking about the landmarks of the human body that you're going to need to be aware of. So this is known as the mastoid tip. It's on the skull and it corresponds with your cervical number 1. Your gonion, which is the angle of the mandible, is going to be at the level of your cervical number 3. When we're doing a chest x-ray, our central ray location is going to be about 7 to 8 inches below the vertebral prominence or at the inferior angle of the scapula. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is C7 right here, and this is known as the vertebral prominence. This process that's projecting off, that's the vertebral prominence. We then can take our finger and put it on the vertebral prominence and come down about 7 or 8 inches also at the inferior angle of the scapula, and that is going to be the central ray location for your chest x-ray in the PA position. Coming back up to the front here, we have our jugular notch, which is right here, and that corresponds to the level of T2, T3. This right here is going to be T1 because the rib is coming off of it, so that's T1. So then your jugular notch is going to be at the level of T2, T3. Where the manubrium connects to the body of the sternum, right here, is known as the sternal angle, and that is at the level of T4, T5. Coming further down beyond the body, we have the xiphoid tip, which is the end process of the sternum, and that's going to correspond to the level of T9 or T10. As we come down to the inferior angle of the ribs, that's going to be about at the level of L2, L3. Here is T12 right here with the last rib coming off, so that's lumbar number 1 and lumbar number 2. So between L2, L3. Coming further down, we have our iliac crest, or the top of your hip bone. That sits at the level of L4, L5. We then have your ASIS, or anterior superior iliac spine, and that's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches below the iliac crest. Another landmark that we have is the symphysis pubis, and this is the area where the two hip bones come together. This is another palpable landmark that we can use, and that's going to be at the level of the greater trochanter. So this process or trochanter on your femur corresponds to the same level of your symphysis pubis. We finally have another landmark that we don't typically use because of where it is, but this is the ischial tuberosity. This is the bone that we actually sit on when we're in a chair, and we don't use this one because you wouldn't want to be palpating somebody's buttocks. Those are the basic landmarks that we use when we are trying to localize certain positions for our central ray location.